Joining us now, Wisconsin Senator Ron Johnson, elected to the Senate in 2010. He replaced one of McCain's allies on the Democratic side, Russ Feingold. He's also chair of the Homeland Security Committee and a member of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee. Senator, I know you were at the memorial service yesterday. What does it say about President Trump that he wasn't welcome at memorial services for one of the most widely respected individuals in our country?
Well, good morning, Martha. I was also at the Rotunda. I was at the 2.5-hour service yesterday. It was an honor and privilege to be there. And I'll just tell you, having sat in that chair, listening to the tributes, that's what I took away from it. I watched a daughter grieving for the loss of her father and how important John McCain was and what a great father he was. I listened to Joe Lieberman and Henry Kissinger and President Bush and President Obama primarily talk about who John was and what he brought to America and the cause that John McCain fought tirelessly for throughout his life, what he sacrificed for. And I'm telling you, that's what I heard. And yeah, there are some political comments made, but by and large, it's a tribute to John McCain, and that was fitting and proper. That's basically what the message was. John McCain was an extraordinary individual. He is irreplaceable in the United States Senate because of what his history was, what his background was, what he focused on. And so, no, I think we all knew John was going to pass. We knew it was inevitable. And last week, that came to fruition. It was very sad, very sober, but it can also be very uplifting if we listen to John's words. Let me just read, because I think this is probably the best way to summarize this, from John's own farewell address, the last paragraph. Do not despair of our present difficulties, but believe always in the promise and greatness of America, because nothing is inevitable here. Americans never quit. We never surrender. We never hide from history. We make history. That's who John McCain was. That is the cause he fought for. And that, I'm just telling you, sitting in the pew, listening to the service, that's what I really was thinking about. And that's what we should all really take away from, this week of tribute to John McCain.
Senator, how do you as a member of Congress balance the challenge of working with this president who thrives on tribal politics and McCain's challenge for the Senate to rise above that and work across the aisle?
Listen, I come from the business world where you tenaciously pursue areas of agreement. I always hear the word compromise. The better way of approaching all of these issues is find the areas of agreement. Generally, we all agree on the same goal. We revere this country. We love this country, the freedoms, individual liberty. We want a safe, prosperous, secure America. That's what John focused on, the areas of agreement. Don't insist on getting everything your way. In the very end, it's the areas of disagreement, that's where you have to start compromising. But if you concentrate on the areas of agreement, the goals, the purpose, the greatness of this country, that's how you accomplish things. And, for my part, as Chairman of Homeland Security under President Obama, we signed into law 50 pieces of legislation that focused on a problem and found a solution on a bipartisan or nonpartisan basis. There's a way of doing this, but again, don't exploit the divisions in our politics. Concentrate on the areas of agreement. That's what John did, and he showed us the way to do it.
And Senator, the president does loom large over the midterms, and our new ABC News Washington Post poll finds that the president's disapproval rating has hit an all-time high at 60%, and nearly half of Americans, 49%, say Congress should begin impeachment proceedings against President Trump, including 51% of moderates. How do Republican candidates overcome the cloud of investigations that hang over the president, especially in a key swing state like yours?
Well, I think we should point out the reality of all the good things this administration has done. We stopped adding to the regulatory burden. We have a more competitive tax system. In just the first 6 quarters of this administration, business investment has increased 7.3% on average. The last 2 years under Obama, it only increased 0.6%. It's that business investment that will, I think, lay the foundation for strong economic progress, more prosperity, better opportunities for every American. So we've done a lot of good things. We've appointed and confirmed judges.
But let's go back to that poll, Senator. Go back to that poll and those really tough numbers.
Well, listen, if I believed in polls, I wouldn't have even run in 2016. So I'm not a big believer in the polls. There's only one poll that counts. It's on Election Day, and we'll see really the verdict of the American public. But over the next 2 months, Republicans just had to point out the success, and it's been an astonishing success 4.1% growth in just the last quarter. And again, we've laid the foundation. That the main number there is really the 7.3% increase in the first 6 quarters of business investment. It's an extraordinary accomplishment because we're starting to get government out of the way of the private sector. That's how you create opportunity and prosperity for Americans. So we've got a great record.
We can see how those campaigns are going to go.
Focus on.
Okay, thanks, Senator Johnson. I want to move to the confirmation hearings for Brett Kavanaugh, Supreme Court seat up for confirmation this week. Democrats are expected to press Kavanaugh to recuse himself from any cases that involve investigations against President Trump. Should he do that if he is confirmed?
I think it probably depends on the case. But again, Brett Kavanaugh, an extraordinary judge. A long record, 12 years on the D.C. Circuit Court bench, over 300 decisions. I mean, the Democrats have more than enough information to understand that this is a highly qualified jurist that should be the next Supreme Court justice. In an earlier time, 30 years ago, he would have passed unanimously. It's unfortunate that Ted Kennedy began this process of very divisive confirmation battles for the Supreme Court.
And should he recuse himself?
Listen, totally depends on the case. Elena Kagan recused herself from cases that she was completely involved in. I can't make that judgment unless you take a look at the
cases involving President Trump.
And I'm sure Judge Kavanaugh will follow the guidelines and recuse himself in cases where he should. But by and large, I think justices should be involved in cases.
Okay, thanks very much, Senator Johnson. We appreciate you joining us.